Hello, and welcome back. You folks are taking care of each other, being kind to yourselves. This is Northstar here with another Stellaris Let's Play. Pretty tired, but trying to crank out videos in a day because I have to. Have to see my YouTube. Make it, 3.1 physics? Should do a research station there eventually. Have to see my channel make it, or I will eventually end up homeless and die because no longer able to stay with family members staying with. Other relatives are shooting like, oh, I'm not gonna provide you a place to crash when my savings run out. I'm screwed since I'm disabled, too sick to work. So the small amounts my estate gives me are enough. Even if I can get SSI from the federal government, rent has outpaced SSI now because rent keeps going up and SSI doesn't keep up with the enormous increase in the cost of rent because of the housing crisis in America. Got screwed up SSDI because some of the work I did as a grad student did not pay payroll tax, didn't contribute to my work credit earnings, and I spent time stuck in a rural area between jobs. Then when I got jobs, once employers realized it was destined enough, it didn't matter if I was overqualified, I would work their shitty jobs. Stop saying, oh, I'm overqualified. Plus, I'd been out of school longer and looked less impressive. Then save money, moved to an area where I could work biotech, but I'd been out of the field too long, so after applying for a while, I retrained as an EMT, then worked as an EMT. Then went back to grad school because my goal had been to become a physician and it had already been way too long. I was not getting younger. Ran the verge of becoming a physician, then disabled long COVID. Got screwed. And just barely sure of the work credits I need, and the system is designed to screw people around like the early 30s because the work credits keep scaling to your like 31 or 30, and then they just freaking plateau instead of scaling to like your early 40s. There's this whole period. So like a 39-year-old gets disabled a much easier time at the work credits than a 31-year-old. It's bullshit. So my onset of disability was like 31. And yeah, well, 30 is gonna be ruined, and yeah, I gotta get my YouTube to so where before my savings in like a couple of years I make enough money to supplement my estate gives me enough that I can survive. And maybe able to pick up a little bit of part-time work, but not many employers want to hire someone who can only work for like 2 or 3 hours before they get loopy and make about as much sense as a drunk person because my neurology is pretty impaired with my long COVID. Um, doesn't look like I've surveyed this world. Huh, I guess I have. Why can't I see how many potentially districts I can do of each type? I want to see deposits. Right, well, whatever. I guess 2 is great for agriculture. That's bleak, but when terraformed, that'll go away. Including if I think it gets turned into a hive world. Sorry, so I'm looking at worlds I can that belong to the Chalcedonian Accord. Indecision, Stormstar Den. One of these is their homeworld. Anyways, be a continental world probably, but that you can have hive minds that start like with the remnants origin and they start in a relic world, which would have been nice. It's probably just prosperous unification bullshit. And they're going to be hostile to boot. I don't want to go to war with them soon. Notably, this archaeology site can't be found by just all consciousnesses, but there's nothing to stop them from building an outpost here and working it, getting the modifier that would normally not be accessible to them, making their armies, they're already kind of scary, powerful, even worse. On the other hand, they can buy time to their legion node experience, gain their army damage, and their strong species, all of which make their armies nasty. buy time before they potentially might want to attack me by establishing more positive relations by trade. Just saying I could give them. I don't want to give them any of the specimens, but you can trade them. I wonder if you can trade proper relics. Probably not. Like the Toxic God Maw, if I do the Knights of Toxic God quest and Successor Empire, I might have to take Letters of Marquet and steal it from my former empire. I don't think you can trade for it. And it'd probably be a I'll give it up over my dead body type thing. Energy, which I have to produce some surplus on planets anyways, to support mining stations. Doesn't matter. Food's gonna be the most desperately short thing in the immediate future. I've got some energy surplus. So you can also trade for trade. I mean, trade away trade value. I don't even have enough to do that. Nope. This would be a labor equivalent amounts. Although I produce energy less efficiency with the nightly quest. Maybe not quite. It's food I would want to trade them, if anything. I don't want that much of this. What can I trade them? Tiny amounts of energy. 50 for 75 would be a profitable trade. It's solely limited by what they have in store, so we can get food. It's always slightly profitable, and only because I have a desperate need for food and minerals to make some improvements to my agriculture and food to last until then. I'm not going to get anything from this trade. I could offer them communications. I don't have anything with any other empire, and they know that apparently somehow. They'll never trade systems. They give you basically hell no. It's only really for trade between players. I don't like trading away alloys, but I think I might need to. Trade away a few. Hold on. Just to see the ratio values. Oh, they massively overvalue energy. I don't want to be trading alloys. Relative to alloys, they much prefer energy. I'd much prefer to give away energy. No, right, that's... Four is 75 energy. I'll get 20 food for... What was it? 37 energy. or 9 alloys. Huh. Okay. Energy for alloys. That's probably a good trade. This is very marginal. I barely come out ahead from that trade, but I can't really offer them trades that are apparently they drive too hard to bargain. Yeah, they're just going to be a threat then, mostly. Not even much of an opportunity. That sucks. Alright, Primal Calling. I may do a Primal Calling Empire at some point. It gives you a really nice home world. Kind of like Knights of Toxica. It gives you semi-decent home world once you upgrade it enough. And a cool, more powerful habitat in your home system. Used to let you have one more habitat back when each planet, or could have a habitat because it would be one that was technically over the moon, so you could build a habitat around your homeworld in addition to the one that was technically orbiting the moon, which can't normally be done. I think they changed that even before they changed habitats entirely, but yeah. Now you can only have one habitat per system. I kind of hate that, but anyways, that does make the micro easier. It doesn't allow you to build nearly as tall. It does mean you have more incentive to ring worlds and such. Eventually, I might do a Primal Calling Empire or an overtuned. People have evolutionary predators, but you can usually, with mutagenesis, optimize the species to be great at a job anyways. You just have, you don't need a single species that's perfect at everything, which is evolutionary predators lets you get. Which is to say, you're actually better with overtuned and mutagenesis than evolutionary predators. Evolutionary predators is almost certainly fun, more fun and easier to do than overtuned, but arguably overtuned is a stronger origin if you're. But Primal Calling is cool because you can do a successor empire type thing, have a better homeworld than you would normally. Unique benefits of, but I think part of it's from a policy, so maybe not. Let's say you get a feature or something that gives jobs to your homeworld. They're pretty cool, but I think the jobs only are active when you have a certain government policy, so maybe not. Only knights where my successor empire can inherit the more powerful homeworld and habitat in my home system. The scientist is going to unknown. Probably rather risk the roamer. The roamer shall roam into the unknown. Ah. Okay. The synaptic collaboration is valued your suggestion. We find a sound. Food, minerals. Always. Since base output 50 minerals is like 75 energy and 37 more energy for 9 alloys and 2 food. That's, like I said, barely profitable. If I'm not mistaken about the production ratios of energy to minerals. Base 16 from 400. Base 60. Yeah, it is. I'm right about the base production ratios. The 2. Produces 40 out of base 16. Produces 90 out of base 60. That can't be right. Oh, I'm running mining subsidies. That's right. Which makes... I've worked so hard to overcome the... Oh well. I mostly got food. Energy for food. Not food. Minerals. I did get most of the minerals out of that, and some alloys. Well, you're not labor efficient, but it is efficient to where I am with my current need for alloys and minerals. Always, partly so I can add orders to menses, and also expand my navy. Oops, may have slightly overexpanded it. Well, throw in a science ship. It's actually past time I do one of those. Wait. No. Just call it assembly, like calling a federation to assembly or something. Or in a Star Wars community. I don't know what it's a reference to, what DLC this came with. I forget if you get rid of the Titanic life when you terraform a world. Magnetic field's permanent though. It's a nastier thing to deal with, as is low gravity. Some not great worlds. And then all with modifiers that can't be removed. Pressure unstable tectonics is permanent too. What was I thinking? Oh yeah, so a science ship because well, there's this archaeological site message I bottle soon. There is collecting this stuff. It does give society research, if I'm not mistaken, which is one more reason I didn't want to get society research from the hive mind. Yeah, I've got stuff for science ships to do and stuff for scientists to do. Should be getting new leaders any day now. Well, not quite any day, but soon. Maybe with better traits. So scientists and officials be buffed by my attrition trees, their starting levels. Commanders, I don't think they get buffed unless I run supremacy. I'm going to run in yielding instead, which is at least a little economic benefit with extra starbase capacity. If you're balkanizing your empire and creating a federation of everything, because you can't have malls vassals anymore unless you do a hegemony. Yeah. You can pre-build star bases for all and make sure they're all at their star base cap. Yeah, empires won't, if you break off like that, they'll downgrade down to their cap, so you can't, like, even though if they're small, it might be beneficial to go 1 or 2 over. So unyielding allowed me to balkanize and get more star bases in total, which means more anchorages, more naval cap that doesn't cost as much labor, because then technicians to maintain anchorages are much. Single technician's supply can maintain so many anchorages that it's better than running soldier jobs. If you have the starbase cap. So what you're going to have is like you're a tiny empire that has a lot of upgraded cap. Like I think with unyielding, you get 6, 2 from the opener, 2 from the finisher, and 2 from one of the attrition. So I could probably have 10. I could have all but one of my systems up. Make it go over. I could, with unyielding, I could currently have a starbase everywhere, but if it was much bigger, it's much less dense. Okay. What's this song? The Weekend. towards colonial viceroys with extra influence and better officials. If I can get this, I'm not going to get it before I roll my next set leaders, so they won't start at level 2. Oh well. It's a shame. The influence would be useful. Want to set outposts more places. Alright. Hi. Oh. Let's go. Still 10% crime here. Okay. It's growing enough. Have to restore forcers soon. Don't think those ones I did before demoted or darn it. I'll reset all, get more civilians first. If I can get Anchor to happiness is high enough, I don't think crime will be that big of an issue. War commander's only one guy. So a lot less crime generated than normal wars. He has the output of like 100 people, but he's only one. Actually, one of small consolation prizes to all the debuffs they've been doing to. Yeah, even my specialists aren't happy. Most of them, they're generating lots of crime. Our hand plus 1.77 pops. Anchor is starting to get to its optimal growth rates. Hold on a sec, guys. Sorry, I was getting too many notifications that someone was entering and exiting games. I really just need to change my defaults, so unless I tell it to, the game, Steam won't tell me when that happens on anyone, honestly. After the cloning vets, what to build in a synth prime? What to build? Stuff like this hurts housing. I do need the resistance badly. Yeah. There are the minerals locally being produced. It's not like it'll add to planetary deficits. I need Genesis arcs. Alright. Well. Could do mixed industry though, because they need some more metallurgists. Nah. I want to be able to switch it to the heavy industry in my capital. That's to consumer goods deficits. Which sucks, but what am I gonna do? Huh? Just keep it mixed industry and add a couple more cities. That might work for a bit. Especially if I turn mines to Alright. Be sure on food. Oh, short. Let's see. Farmers. Producing And 6 per farmer. Really that low? 77. No, it's a little more than twice the base. Okay. This will get me 12-ish food. I'll still be in a deficit. Okay, I need some bridge acid. Yeah, I need an agriculture district. Next, that's probably what I'll need. Then I'll upgrade it. Roll on. Yeah. No dimensional horrors or any nonsense here. Good. Alright. I always hate when you go to the war system and there's something that instantly kills your scientists. It's like, oh boy. If I remember correctly, you can also... Void worms, can they make their nests on asteroids? I forget. Can that be a thing that causes problems now too? Keep adding to dangerous exploration as if it wasn't hard enough and slow enough as is. Oh well, the devs do. Hard and slow, but actually very cost effective despite that. So, they want to slow your snowball so that you'll be tempted to buy more DLCs to speed it up. It's the thing Paradox always does. They make the game slower and then DLCs that add that more than counteract it. So the game gets slower and slower, just the base game. If you have to add some number of DLCs to keep what was the original pace, and if you get them all, the game actually moves faster. I guess they presume not everyone will own all the DLCs though, so it's part of like how they're balancing things, maybe. And they want to sell all they can because, well, greed. Alright, then. The head of research finishes this world. I guess I'll, I don't have to worry about this guy being abducted anymore, do I? I'm still in a race to get out here. Find other. Alright, head of research can go there. Boom. Boom. T-West has a lot of stuff to do there. Now I'm sure this anomaly gets done by the carefree scientists. Do it faster. Carefree too. The right person for each job. As bubbles reached dot, reduced upkeep by 25%. And in a nebula, so reduced upkeep even further. Probably be more otherwise. It's actually with the stats, Bubbles is now a fairly cost-effective combat ship, probably better than my other ships. So yeah, mature space amoebas are cost-effective. The juveniles, not so much. Seems to be the case. At least the basic components until you can like genetically engineer them to be stronger. Maybe you can eventually make the juveniles better. The newer genetically engineered ones you get eventually. To add archives and anchor. That's part why I did this one. Industries, I can calculate the amount of consumer goods used that would know where previews what the output would be. Huh. Okay. Alright. Next month I queue up an ag district on Synth. Or just do a single one, which will allow the specialization in buildings. Not get me enough food. Sell it all the food I need. Reduce the food deficit. Or actually make it into a surplus. It's more valuable in some ways than on Hesek where there's already a food surplus. Alright. Population is already grown. Agriculture district. Make sure I have enough food to support all these cloning vats. As well as build Genesis arcs.
System survey concluded.
Yeah, I know. And now you're going to Gothora. Oh. I'm a little iffy about getting quite that close to the Chatoid. Take a very slightly more roundabout path. This is approximately the closest approach, or was. And make sure I don't get within its aggression range. I don't know what it is. May not be that far, but it could be. No need for nasty surprise. Alright. 32 minutes in. Hurry the heck up here. Wary, but no, the custodians have not closed their borders to me, so I guess they don't quite hate me that much. Boy. Could go off expansionist policy. So they have less border friction with me. Could. Undercurrent. Zopor. This should give me some scaled society research. Can't serve the rift anymore, can I? This is done. I'll probably get a cancellation. What's next? Watch that ship. 35 hours. Yeah. Housing is needed. It even cuts a little into the pop growth while it's built, but I'll add to population growth after. Another orders to Mets. Not for the night jobs, although we get a couple, as much as the housing. The orders hall. The orders should not be limited by any keeper starbase in AOA with vast open spaces, worlds, and systems bountiful with resources. Good hunting. They truly thrive. So keep all the build queues full. That's good. Speaking of build queues.
We have detected an anomaly.
Ah, just as I finished the science ship. It's thematic. Where did I find it? The Hubble. And found in the Zarim system where I am in a race to survey first. Massive impact. Colossal impact crater hints at something big collide with the surface of this planet once. I think that gives you scale physics research. I'll come back for it. Trying to survey ahead of the custodians. So I get the anomalies and they don't. This science ship. This little science ship, wee all the way home. Could be used to start training up a scientist instantly. For some reason I wanted to... I'll wait to see what I get next. How far away is... 85 days? Nope. It's gonna have it sit at the 6th station for a little bit and science ship until science ship. Get this in the queue. Doesn't have LA upkeep the way that frame corvettes do. Just energy. I have those 2 science ships pre-built, and as soon as they get new crop of leaders, I'm probably hire a couple. It's got to be younger ones who will be available. If they're any good, I'll keep them. If not, I can fire them, but just be in charge of the science ship gets scientists XP. So they start leveling up. And they can go do things like collect the specimens. Or go on voyages to explore, like map the galaxy. Definitely still useful, that. Speaking of which, at some point I'll want to stop mapping the stars. Trying to know become less useful as there's less anomalies that run out of space to survey, but that won't be for a while. Yet. Trying to make contact with the Aleph aliens. And the mining drones. Ah, the James Cook. Hold on a sec. Let's just think of names. For videos, the last one I'll probably call clones and drones, because the cloning bats and the drone study thing, I forget if that was the last video, and I think it was. I'd already met the custodians towards the end of the last video. Maybe it's a little premature. I have to go back and watch to see if I met them by the end of the video, but this one, maybe I'll call it the James Cook if it was the last video I met the Cassian Accord. I'll call it the Cassian Accord if it's this one, but I like naming videos after science ships. Just like the science ships are named after famous explorers and scientists. Einstein or James Cook. James Cook was a ship captain explorer. Actually kind of a brutal prick to his crew, but just why there was the mutiny he suffered. That was James Cook, right? Captain James Cook caused a mutiny of his crew. Cook Island is named after him. The British don't care if you're... British Empire didn't care if you're brutal to your crew. I mean, it's the British Empire. They were freaking evil pricks, like most empires. Like the U.S. Empire today. I get hatred for saying this from some people, but the way we treat the world. Every empire in history has pretty much been nasty. Sometimes empires start off with not as terrible intentions. I would never say good intentions, because that's bullshit. Sometimes it comes, though, from like dealing with an aggressive rival who want to conquer and then occupying their territory, annexing after. Sometimes it's not the worst intentions, but they almost always become evil because power corrupts. And absolute power corrupts absolutely, as the saying says. That's not entirely true, but There's people who are incorruptible. The claim there isn't is bullshit, but the sort of people who lead an empire are never those sort of people.
We have detected an anomaly.
Not only is power corrupt, but the sort of people who lead such a system are never the people who are incorruptible or difficult to corrupt. That's the thing to keep in mind. Systems can select for the worst leaders, and often do. And then it corrupts them on top of that. Surface beacon. I think that can have some useful stuff. Back. No, it's gonna take more time to double back and do this later. Do I? Explorer is the highest anomaly discovery chance anyways. We'll swap these after. Anomalies here are more useful in the long run. Yeah. I'll research it with scientists at hand, not the head of research. This guy. First contact event. Clear signal. Our sensors detect a particularly strong, clear repeating signal from the Aleph aliens. It seems to offer linguists excellent material for codifying their language. They're optimistic that we'll be able to make some significant progress on the back of this stroke block. Managed to pick up a clear audio feed of conversations between several Aleph alien ships, while linguists are still none the wiser as to the meanings of any of the words they're recording. They're optimistic this new signal will help them make significant progress towards a breakthrough. Still don't know if they're being their stances, but that'll help. Stance of an empire gives you some clues to their personality or government type, usually. Gives you hints. Doesn't tell you anything for sure, ever, but like militarists are more likely to take hostile stances and hive minds, xenophobes. Or xenophiles will take friendly stances, which will help you decode their language faster. That gives them a bigger reward if they decode yours first. So if you get a bunch of xenophiles start next to each other, the code each other's language quickly, gain skill, and then that skill can be used to decode other aliens' languages. Starting next to hive mind is actually usually a bad thing, although the fact that I got an empire modifier from it, because it was my first ever alien species, that's good. I think that only happens if your first true empire met is a hive mind. I think that's the way you can get that modifier from a member. So in a way, it was lucky that was my first. It would have sucked to be my second empire met. Alright, the cloning bats are online. And with it, they give bonus growth. Country growth scale. Oof. Actually, I'm suffering already from my stupid empire pop scaling. Losing an eighth of my growth, no less. That's total nonsense. Annoying nonsense. I should have just turned that stupid thing off. Setting. It's a lazy move on the half of the devs to not optimize the game better, just to reduce the number of size of your populations, which makes things like city planets less and less beneficial. Of course. Gets so it's harder and harder to fill them out. And then, oh, you can still grow tall. I mean, you can grow tall because this. Well, no, because city plants are terrible if you can't fill them. Makes them much better off. Be so far behind an empire that says to Sky Worlds. Say to Sky Worlds or focuses on militaristic extension perks for so long that you would have been. No. They just need to optimize this game better, and the 4.0 rework actually added the lag after they promised it would reduce it by. They really just did it so they could do certain changes to biogenesis, which, like most of the wilderness empires, which, I mean, cool. It adds flexibility. I hope they weren't adding like technical debt or making the system actually harder to change in the future. It's a better foundation than cool. Not even more annoyed, but of course, I think the people who have the most problems have like 8 core, 16 core computers. You're actually sometimes better off with more primitive computers with fewer, more powerful cores. Because multi-threading has limits. And usually, even things are multi-thread. They only have like 3 or 4 threads you can actually. So more processors and threads won't benefit you. It's like these like 16 core computers they sell for very high prices are a scam. Because each individual processor is weak. It's just playing people's stupidity and rules on advertising. Like not being tight enough. Where's cement agriculture focused at the same amount of time? Interesting. Anyways, an agricultural district would be the first thing. Actually bring me into the black on food production, saying though not by much. Not as much as they need to be, hence the agriculture focus as well. Which even though food processing will probably get me to around where I need to be, and with it, definitely have enough food. Maybe I can even do things at jobs, one of those buildings, and turn ag district into a city. To add to housing, that's pop growth. Growth scaling is going to start making that less and less worthwhile to invest in. Annoyingly. It was never that cost effective to begin with. Hey, it did make logistics growth a little faster. Without changing on growth scaling, it just means you reach your max population sooner.
We have detected an anomaly.
There are signs of activity by ancient precursor civilization. Vicinity of this gas giant. First leak. Not on my site. Getting a few of those. Eventually I have 3 clues. 1 there. 1 here, I think, yep. 1 I already did. Still need at least 4 to hope to find them. This is much further away than I expected to find it. Assume it's still the first. I don't think you can start the chain for more than 1 precursor. Apparently it never occurred to your scientists there could have been more than 1 precursor species in your area. Even though the game is effectively divided into, let me say, more than 1 in the galaxy, and their galaxy is effectively divided into zones with which one will spawn being based on what zone you're in. Dead zones if you disable certain precursors. You won't start the chain until you go into an area that belongs to one of the assigned. So if you only have 1 precursor, it'll be really hard to find it. more that you allow, the quicker you'll find signs of your precursor. But there'll still only be one per galaxy as far as I know. Not like you can find the first Swig and then find the Cyrex. Was a slight mistake in the clicking, but not so big as to matter hugely. Pulling around 230 pops before I got my housing passing with the actually that's district in 232-ish. I don't know. A little over 230. The current stuff. Go up slightly as a bit more cities, but yeah. What was in the old system, I'd be around 250 pops, and my pop growth would stop entirely and it would slow down as it got closer to that. Of course, I'll be colonizing more worlds. I'll have some serious empire growth going. That's all the more reason to balkanize my empire. That's what they push things. That's why I left empire growth scale on, because I'll do that and other empires will still have a growth advantage. Empires that don't, even if like my city planet stuff is going to be not worthwhile for a long time. Guy worlds synergize with the Genesis Guide Civic on the other hand, as I explained before, because you can get more boosts from Genesis monuments than if you didn't have Genesis Gaia worlds. Yep. Gain unity and influence, which you always gain from uplifting pre-sapiens. Get pre-sapiens to uplift everywhere. Goodness, is there a fungoid species? It's moscoid, not the pop groups I would have liked to find it members of, but whatever. This is probably the last place I want to find anomalies. We're done with this. I'll have to switch swap the head of research here. Switch. Swap. Oh, I should do this. False asteroid. The regular asteroid we encounter in Gothar appears to be sentient nature, approaching the... not necessarily sentient. Like dogs aren't sentient. Intelligent, maybe? That may not be the right word. Alive. Animals aren't sentient. Sentient is specifically something that's self-aware. Approaching that orbit of such objects is highly dangerous, and science ships are advised to leave pet systems immediately until we know more about these. It starts the first contact I already know. That wasn't anything particular like society research or anything. This is from nowhere. I don't remember what it does, but whatever. Different music. Ah, an explorer. So I have the James Cook and the explorer. then go spend mine station, then going here, eventually build another outpost. Outpost that just barely with the energy mining, pay for its own upkeep, but plus it's a empire size, but it gets me on the way to secures places they eventually build habitats around our ring world in the system and secures the way to the system. Do a restoration project. Couldn't find anywhere what that does. No one's left like the comments. Why? I don't think the video where I did that yet is even posted as of yet, but hopefully someone will leave in the comments what that does. I'd like to know. Throw another frame class Corvette or 2 in there. Q. The one's must not delay. I don't need it for power projection. I'll just have to upkeep if it's done. It's very min-maxy, but if I'm gonna add 2 anyways. Oh yeah, resell civilians. All these squires. Yeet. Keep getting more and more unemployed. Oops. My crime isn't coming down. Alright. Clearly I need more enforcers. Anchor.
Construction completed.
Just below 10% there. Cool. Employed specialists probably become knights. So I guess a few squires. And such tight margins, eh? Don't you have the always for that outpost? But that's efficient. Resources aren't sitting in the stockpile for no reason. They're being used. There's something to invest in. Ancient mine drones. Reports of deep space drones in certain systems have been investigated. The drones appear to be the workers and custodians of an autonomous orbital mining operation established millennia ago, and then soon abandoned by all but the drones themselves, judging by the state of the process and equipment. So thousands of years ago. The drones, millennia means thousands of years. 1 millennia is 1,000 years, for instance. The drones seem to lack any diplomatic comms protocols, at least any decipherable by the Larian Royal Planet States, and react with hostility to Larian ships entering the system. Their presence in the Sagemia system is intriguing. We should attempt to learn more about them. Now I can do drone studying and gained influence.
An alien nation is hailing us.
I didn't get first contact from drones. We're still gathering data on the alien spacecraft that was reported in the Ruthari system. If the vessel is an emissary of a previously unknown alien civilization, as seems likely, we must determine if they go with the grace of the spirits or if the agents of wickedness, because I'm a spiritualist umpire. The first step would be to divine their language and the nature of their belief system. That typically implies they're taking a cautious approach to me. I don't entirely blame them, I'd say, especially if they were saying materialists. Okay, got a free envoy now. Put this one on investigating the Shitoids. No, fricks, they eat my science ships. liters in 107 days. This guy reach level 3, 148 experience. Let's see what it is next month. Ancient survey marker. Or should I give resources? I'll check on it later. Swap those off like I was planning to do. Get more and more tired. COVID manager gives out. I already probably sounded about as loopy as someone who was drunk if you were here with me and I was having a real conversation. Folks, that's the problem with long COVID. I'm not drinking. But it works for YouTube because people drink and do videos. That's why I can do YouTube is it doesn't matter if I get a little loopy, I can still produce videos that are good enough and maybe even more entertaining because not completely there here mentally. Whereas most jobs I can't do because employers would hate to have me this way around, you know. Get very judgy over it, like it's my fault they all on COVID. Absolutely is not. Got from a roommate who came back from business trip with COVID. How long COVID do that infection? And the guy wouldn't stay away. You didn't believe you could get COVID more than once, but you absolutely can. I tried to explain the immunity wears off after about like 9, 10 months, and it had been 10 months since my last infection, and I got COVID from him being there. He didn't tell me he was showing signs of an infection, and he was pretty sure he had it until he'd been already home for hours, and I clearly already been exposed. And then the university wouldn't let me like go anywhere else. They forced me to quarantine in place. It was obviously probably too late at that point, anyways. But well, might have been. Actually, it turns out it wasn't because based on when I did get sick, I must have avoided infection for at least 3 days. Probably closer to a week. So the first 3 to 5 days I managed to avoid infection regardless, but it was enough that my university would have actually like kicked me out because their policy is you have to quarantine in place even if you live off campus, which is invasive, controlling what someone does. Feels like, I mean, they basically ruined my life, whereas if I'd just been allowed to just go and like get a hotel that very night, I would have probably been fine. I know minor risk to others, but I was so much tried to avoid the guy. Apparently it did for a few days until he managed to infect me. Despite the cramped basement apartment with terrible ventilation. So, yeah, definitely not my fault. The university should have had no right to tell people what to do when they were living off campus. I get the policy was probably a reasonable thing anyways, though. Whether they should have had jurisdiction or not. It was a reasonable policy. Most cases, most people in my situation would have been affected almost immediately. I managed. Because the incubation period is like, what, a week? And it wasn't, it was almost 2 weeks after roommate came home till I showed signs of infection, which, even if I missed it for a day or two, means probably for about 5 days of, and you're only actually contagious for about 7, so 5 of the 7 days I managed to avoid infection. Roommate got sloppier and sloppier as I was hanging around. I wasn't immediately showing signs of getting sick, though. Even though I kept warning him to stay away from me and stuff, because it could ruin my life or get me killed. Because, you know, COVID can kill you. Don't forget that. Especially before the vaccine was out, people were dying. I was endangering my life and not paying attention. Stupid young people thinking they're invincible, not caring about rules. Or just being a little bit selfish, depending on your perspective. My mother's always, oh, he was trying to get you sick or something. Like, no. I know the guy was a nice guy. He just thought he was, like, invincible, basically. He didn't take risks to his... I mean, he served in the military, and he didn't seem to have any awareness of just how freaking dangerous his time in Afghanistan was. This guy was... Maybe after that, he wasn't going to be scared of virus, but it could have killed him just as easily as the Taliban bullet. This guy was dumb in that way. Not mean, Not necessarily selfish, just fucking stupid. Mm. Yeah, well, generous funding helps me progress the quest faster. In 15 months, I'll get the next stage of the quest for Toxic God. Cool. I'll call this Cleanse Endurance and Cleanse Endurance Part 2 if it was this video, right? Nah. Cleanse Endurance and the Chalcedonian Accord. That's a reasonable name. Diversity of names. My video names. Sorry, of all things to talk about what I name a video is probably the least interesting, guys. Sorry. And I imagine even my talking about politics and history can be interesting or entertaining. And if you think I'm stupid, it's entertaining for the wrong reasons to you guys, but I can't imagine talking about what I name a video is in any way interesting. Zilkor swarm detected. Secured. Interesting. Yep. Orders canceled because the next thing was not something that could be done. Can't survey inside another empire's borders unless you have a cloaking device, I think. Anyways. When was I in the Strom system before? I already surveyed some stuff there. I don't remember. Maybe I came here and then swung west. Trying to survey ahead of these guys. Yeah, and they already have this archaeological set in their borders. Apparently, Liberation Wars no longer let you declare on hive mind, so unless they're devouring swarms, I have to lose pacifist if I want to try and get Kimithar. It's just a tiny army damage modifier, and I wouldn't even keep it as my successor empire. Probably shouldn't go to a premature war just over something that I'll lose later anyways. Such a tiny modifier. Yeah, soon a quarter. Their armies are scary. I mean, I'd certainly like to get the site. I just can't easily get there. I'd have to swap their whole empire. We deprive them of every happy world. Conquer both their. Be a lot of claims and change in ethos. Can't even. Well, you can't. Wait, what am I saying? You can vassalize hive minds. I've done it before. Requires. Oh, they made it harder. Peaceful subjugate requires excellent relations or 50 trust. And an embassy or diplomatic networking. How the hell would I get 50 trust? I guess I would have to do treaties, such. And if they did become my vassal, I still wouldn't have that world unless I integrated them, which would kill off all their pops. Because they're hive mind, they wouldn't be able to survive. Unless they actually re-release them as new vassal. Which I think would still, based on their species traits, be another hive mind. Not sure about that. It would hope it wouldn't create an individualist empire, or if they were as the founder species, that would an empire with no pops in the end. That'd be silly. Well, I guess it could be weird. An individualist empire being able to create a new hive mind. It's weird either way. Hive minds probably shouldn't be vassalizable. I think individualist empires should be easier, if anything, but hive minds, there should be no way. It should be harder to vassalize unless you're yourself a hive mind. Should be the only hive minds can vassalize other hive minds. Probably that would be a reasonable. I think something like that would have made peaceful vassalization less quote overpowered without breaking the immersion, which I think that made it so hard. It's actually immersion breaking now. Just threat violence is often enough. Get an empire to cave in real life.
We have detected an anomaly.
If the terms of like neo-colonial servitude are generous enough. Mysterious heat. While surveying Zerum 10, science team is X is Romeo 10. The science team has detected unusual heat signatures coming below the frozen surface of the planet. A lot of anomalies in the system, annoyingly. I can't get them once they're in the borders of this. I mind. Last place we went to find them. I'd rather find anomalies, say, here. We'll probably end up on my own borders. What is playing right now? Minothos. Minothos. Whatever. Just over 2 months to my next scientist available. Okay, I should send the James Cook. Now. Here. No, won't arrive till the new scientists are recruited. And this is the only different path. Boom. Ah, my country leader is leveled up. Advisor or ambassador. Veteran class now. The budget of our empire is in the hands of our advisors, so class leaders who specialize in economic theory. Pop upkeep. Trade from jobs. Ambassador. Ambassadors maintain relationships with other empires, both overtly and in more subtle ways. Their diplomacy and the cellcraft espionage both fall under their domain. And trust growth if I really wanted to vassalize that hive mind quickly. Not hive minds are probably not easy to do that too, though. Advisor. Just pop upkeep helps. Little, let's say the food deficit. Consumer goods being tight. And one of my governors is leveled up as well. Architectural interest or trade focused. It's the governor of Anchor. my hair was governing Hessic Prime. Probably is. At this point, I may want to consider swapping who governs which world. Trade from jobs. I don't have any trade jobs really. So there is a key understanding of bargaining techniques, which was the thing. Acquisition of profitable contracts. Architectural interest. Zero cultivates a strong interest in architecture and construction techniques. Less always upkeep on an anchor. That's cool. Faster construction. There. Benefits sector wide. If probably architectural interest. An early leader when I'm in this rapid build phase. This is not great later, and I'd rather trade focus later game, but wisdom is particularly important to get done quickly. Pop growth. Make a big difference. It's a lot of housing. Cultural focus, less urgent. But now both a unifier and architectural interests benefit the whole sector. I probably want to swap these two very soon. Yeah, no, actually, let's do it right now. Why am I waiting? They're both level 3. Not like either is both from Hessic Prime. Or I could do. This is a lot of some basic and advanced. No, I probably want those rather than science right now. Plus, the heads of research would be idle if I assigned them. I mean, that scientists, they wouldn't be able to do science ships if I sent them this way. Alright, so the hair's been pushed off to the order habitat for now. I should get the agricultural focus done sooner. Cool. It's a cool song. Blade. This copyright or some bullshit. It's part of the game soundtrack, but occasionally they do things. Games of stuff. And then you get copyright strikes. Oh, you're doing a streaming game, and that's not supposed to be used that way, but the law wasn't meant to be written that way, but then the fucking companies put carve-outs in their, sometimes the terms of service where you can copyright strike that way, just because it makes it easier for them to get music licenses. So that regardless the law says the contract to use the game, like the terms of use, allow that to happen. It's obnoxious, and it's not like everyone can read all those terms of use. Putting shade things in them is, well, it's one of the ways capitalism eventually screws everyone. Keep telling y'all, it's a terrible system. Shoot, I'm gonna need more enforcers here. terrible luck. I always have terrible luck and end up my luck comes back to bite me and end up with crime problems. Crime. So I want to resell people off because I'll actually need extra farmers. But they're working as squires, they can't work as farmers. So. This video is going too long any longer and I'd have to cut into. So, viewers, I hope you enjoyed this. Take care of each other. Be kind to yourselves. You always find a guiding star to lead you home. Till next time, this is Northstar I do, and best of luck to y'all.